Opinions and stories around the game we love, told by your favorite storytellers. Stay up to date with all things cricket. Subscribe to Cricbuzz's YouTube channel and press that bell icon now.
Yeah, it was frustrating. We obviously knew how important that first hour was in particular. 10 overs leading to that new ball and managing that well initial. We knew it was going to nip around a bit again, and there was a bit of that extra bit of bounce and zip with it being a little bit harder. So it was really important that we got there unscathed, and unfortunately losing those 3 wickets ahead of that was bitterly disappointing, because we had put a lot of good work in last night. We built that big partnership, and it was really on me and Dawood to make the most of that opportunity this morning. Credit to Australia, they put ball in good areas. It can be frustrating sometimes. You feel like you've played extremely well and you make one mistake and you're back on your way. So they're the harsh lessons that we've learned throughout this test match. Credit to Australia taking every chance that's come their way, and I can't say the same about ourselves. So I look back at this morning with a little bit of disappointment, but ultimately when you're 40 for 4 in the first innings, it's very difficult to get back into the game, and when you create as many chances as we did with the ball and not take them, it's very difficult to look back at just this morning and think that that's where the game was lost for us. I think batting first was the right decision. If you look at how the wickets unfolded, I think, as I say, being 40 for 4 makes it not look the case, and credit for us. Australia exploited those conditions a little bit, but it did quicken up, and we showed that we could create chances that second day, and as you saw today, it didn't start misbehaving a little bit more. You look at getting 250 even in that first innings, and the game looks very different altogether. So now I look back at the toss, and I think I'd have done the same thing. I think, speaking to Pat, he would have done the same thing as well. He'd have batted first. So I'm not too worried about that. In terms of selection, I wanted a balanced attack, wanted to be able to change the momentum of the game, and we went with the spinner. And credit to Australia, they took on Leachy. He had to bowl on that wicket at his worst. I felt facing Nathan last night, as quality as he is, it felt like you could score quite freely off him, and you could rotate off him on that surface. And probably actually put a lot of that on myself, being slightly too aggressive with his fields early on, didn't let him get into the series and get into the game, and made it very difficult for him from that point onwards. So probably more on my shoulders there and how I managed him, rather than looking at the selection of how we went about things.
Just one more conclusion.
I think isolating this game, I think managing the bounce on this wicket is something that we didn't do well enough. I think we could leave the ball with that extra bit of bounce here, probably slightly tighter at times. And I think we nicked balls not because of lateral movement on occasions, but because of extra bounce, playing slightly away from ourselves, where in our own conditions we don't face that, and I don't think we quite managed that as well as we could have. Something that we'll look at for other venues that might be slightly similar throughout the series. But it is generally quite unique to playing here at Brisbane. But as always, when you're into a series and you draw from your experiences and you look to get better and improve, and that's exactly what we'll have to do from this game. I think the most important thing is, after that first innings and the way that we played, it'd have been very easy to go out there and look like rabbits in headlights and think, the game's over. But I think we showed good character, good fight, and skill as well, to get ourselves in a position where we were still in the game coming into this morning. And it's just bitterly disappointing that we couldn't follow through on that and get ourselves to a total where, even 170, you're in with the shout. Is the pressure of batting last on that wicket, you started to see it go up and down a little bit more. It could have looked very different, especially with one not coming out to bat first up. It could have created something for us. I think we'll take confidence from that, and when guys do score runs within your team, it can draw confidence to others as well. So it's important that we look to try and do that going into the rest of the series too. This tour is not about me getting 100 in Australia. This tour is about us winning. I know that if I make big scores, then we'll give ourselves a better chance. But I look at the way I played this innings personally, and I felt like that was the only real chance that I gave to Australia. And sometimes that's how it goes. You look as well as David Warner played. We gave him 3 or 4 chances. Give someone like that many chances, he's going to make big runs. And that's how cricket goes sometimes as a batter. And I'm capable of scoring out here and making a big score. I'm obviously coming off the back of a very strong year with a lot of hundreds behind me. So got to get myself in again and just do it for longer. I'm pretty sure he'll be fit for Adelaide. One thing you write Ben Stokes off at your own peril. He'll be desperate to get back into this series and have a big say in how it all turns out. Like a lot of the guys, not had much cricket. Even you look back at when his last game was, it was right at the start of our summer. So it was always going to be a challenging week for him physically, and to come back in and expect him to win a game. Of course, he's capable of doing it, but the fact that he hasn't, the fact that he's now got a game under his belt, he'll be, I'm sure, be wanting to have a big say now moving forward. I think now is completely the wrong time to start talking about selection. I think that's something that we'll look at once we get to Adelaide, once we know what the surface looks like and what the conditions are likely to present when we get there. But it's nice to know that they should be fit and available and ready to go, fresh for those conditions if they're required.